The cards on the screen right now are examples of what I call feels good cards. They make you feel warm and cozy and comfortable, like a blanket to a little child or their favorite stuffed animal. But as is often the case in life, growth does not occur in comfortable settings. We have to learn to let go of these things that make us feel so nice, and we have to watch them burn. It's like Sam to Frodo. You need to drop the ring into the fire. And I know a lot of you are probably have your walls up right now. You saw Nice Try, Keiko Zaid, and Weakest Hunter. You heard me say feels good. And you might have had an emotional reaction to that. You know, maybe Keiko Zaid just helped you win a game the other day at your locals, or you remember a time that Weakest Hunter won you a game by drawing 3 cards and finding what you needed, or by using the EX3 on it. So a lot of you might have your walls up right now, but I'm asking you to let down your walls. Let's talk through these feels good cards, and I think you might end up being on my side. And I think that letting go of feels good cards and learning to play the real good cards, even if they're feels bad per se, is a major step towards taking the leap from just winning amongst your friends and your locals to winning at major competitive events like the upcoming Louisville Regional. So let's step away from Lord of the Rings for a little bit, and let's turn to the scriptures, right? The Apostle Paul. I took this scripture and I translated it to UVS speak. So when I was a casual, I spake as a casual, I understood as a casual, I thought as a casual. But when I became competitive, I put away feels good cards. This is the next step for a lot of players to getting better. You know, and casual players tend to flock to feels good cards faster than my kids flock to like the ice cream truck when it comes. You know, you'll find feels good cards all over the place being played, and people are very resistant towards being told to stop playing them. So I've got kind of 2 overarching categories of feels good cards that I found in my studies on the subject. There might be more, and if you have another category that you'd like to suggest, feel free doing so in the comment section of this video. But the first category is a feels good card papers over feels bad elements of universes. And we all know the feels bad elements of universes. You've heard your buddy, or maybe you've said a lot of these things at events before. I checked poorly. My rival checked like a god. They just checked straight 5s and killed me. I didn't draw enough attacks. I didn't see the gas. Didn't find the orange cards. My attack got blocked. Or, ouch, taking damage is painful. You know, I didn't block an attack and then I took damage. Those last 2 are kind of like mini feels bad elements, but you hear the first 3 all the time. It's like the number 1 excuse for people whenever they lose. And okay, yeah, the fundamental like principle behind this is loss aversion. Daniel Kahneman won a Nobel Prize for his work on this subject. I think it was called prospect theory. Loss aversion was like a foundational aspect of prospect theory. It was just a part of it. But basically what he found was that humans feel the emotion of losses more than they feel good when something good happens. Like, so take for example, would you rather have a 100% chance to gain $450 or a 50% chance to gain $1,000? You know, I'll let you pause the video for a moment on both of these problems and decide for yourself. But the vast majority of people, when asked this question, take the 100% chance. They would rather just have the $450, even though the 50% chance is technically, you know, your expected value is $500. Now let's flip the question. Would you rather have a 100% chance to lose $500 or a 50% chance to lose $1,100? When asked this way, most people say, all right, I want to gamble now. I don't want to lose money. So I want a chance at not losing money. And once again, the expected value here is negative $550. So both times humans are picking what a rational machine would not pick. You know, ChatGPT would not be picking these, but humans, we do. And that's because we have loss aversion. We really don't like that feeling of losses. Here, we just want the sure thing. We don't want it to feel like we lost that $450. Here, we don't want to feel that losing $500, so I'll gamble, you know, and I'll keep gambling and gambling and gambling to make my money back. Okay, gains and losses are not treated the same in our brains. We focus way more on losses. So anything that helps us not feel these feelings is good. Our brain perceives it as good, even if it's not real good. So let's take each of these one at a time, and I'll give you 3 examples of cards that fit these categories. But 3 feels good cards. But just know that for every feels good card I show here, there's like 20 more that I could find as examples. It's really not very difficult to find all these feels good cards on UVS Ultra. The ones that I'm going to be putting here are ones that I see played at a high rate. So I checked poorly. City Rampage, right? Everybody loves to slam City Rampage in. Now I can play all these 5 diff attacks, and I feel better about it. You know, when I check a 3, I actually checked a 5. When I check a 5, I checked a 7. And so City Rampage gets just slammed into decks that it has no business being in. Like, I think most 6-handers should not be playing City Rampage. 7-handers, maybe. But a lot of 6-handers, they're just playing City Rampage at such a high rate. Life of Danger. After you check it 2 or less, that check gets +1. I see people putting Life of Danger into decks where they have 4 2 checks. Okay, let's think about this for a second. 1, what are the odds you're going to actually check a 2? I don't know. It's going to happen like 1 in 5 games. And then when it does happen, 2, what are the odds you actually built a Life of Danger and it helped you out? And then 3, what are the odds that even if you use the Life of Danger, that it actually changed anything about the game? That it actually mattered that you got that bonus to your check? You know, I'm not saying that these cards never have spots. Life of Danger, obviously in Air Nick Reagan, where he's playing 12 2 checks, has a spot. City Rampage, when I made top cuts in St. Louis, I got top 8 with Amajiki. I was playing a City Rampage deck. But it made sense for the deck in the 7-hander that I was playing. But I see casuals oh, I'm playing a 2-check? Oh yeah, Life of Danger goes in. And it's like, you would do so much better at having a foundation that's actually going to do something meaningful. Or Unfazed, for example. After this is blocked, which is another feels bad moment. So in 2 ways, Unfazed is helping your feels badness turn into good. After this attack is blocked, your checks to play cards get +1 this turn. So we love these because our brains are hardwired to love these, because it feels bad to check poorly. And so saving us from that negative emotion matters to our brains. But if we would let these cards go a lot of the times and play something better, we would be better off for it. All right, my rival checked like a god. Airy Smiles. Breaker 3 on timely counterattack. Frantic Rescue. So Airy Smiles, high block, you block with it. Your rival has to play a non-attack card as their next form or pass. Well, this is so situational. A lot of times your rival was done attacking anyway, and so it didn't matter. A lot of times you can't block high. You know, maybe they play a string of lows, or you're half blocking in order to get your Airy Smiles off. You're also flipping a foundation. Is it actually, and let's say when it works, is it actually working? Is it actually saving you? It's probably saving you like 20% of the time. The other 80% of the time, they just say, all right, I'll play this foundation and then I'm going to kill you anyway. You know, your Airy Smiles meant nothing, but it felt good to play. You know, it felt good. Timely counterattack, Breaker 3. You know, people love saying Breaker 3. They say Breaker 3 and feel so smug. But timely counterattack's not good as an attack. It's almost like a 3-check action. You know, it's like, it's not very powerful on its own. It's purely, decks that play it are purely playing it for the breaker. And in which case I'd rather play something with like a similar ability, like a Showdown, for example, that checks a 4 instead of checking a 3. And Showdown actually also cancels actions, which is really meaningful. Okay, Frantic Rescue after you take damage. Again, another feels bad moment. So double feels good card here. After you take damage, flip it. Your rival's attacks get +1 difficulty this turn. Okay, number 1, you had to take damage to do it. Number 2, your rival might just be done playing attacks anyway, and you're just helping them play the game correctly. A lot of Universes, you win games when you backswing people. How do you backswing? Well, first, they overcommit to their attack string that doesn't work out. Frantic Rescue, if you're using like one of these 3 cards and then they actually decide not to commit out and then they build out, then you can't backswing them appropriately like you might have been able to do if you had baited them into playing more attacks. A lot of people, like with the Breaker 3, they'll do that as very first time they can. You know, and then it has a 3 block mod. So they'll like commit their resources out just to say Breaker 3, and then they'll get killed anyway. Frantic Rescue, they'll get killed anyway. By the way, it checks a 4. I really don't like to be playing 4-check foundations. Personally, I like to limit the number of those. Okay, I just didn't draw enough attacks. Latent Skill comes to mind for me. Flip, discard 2 cards, draw 2 cards. You're not increasing your hand size. 2, there's no guarantee of what you're going to be drawing. 3, if it gets canceled, game over. You just lost 2 cards in hand. Or let's think about like Unrelenting Advance. After this is blocked, a feels bad moment, mill cards until you mill an attack, add the milled attack to your hand. But you just clogged your card pool. And a 2-mid-5 is not doing much. It's not advancing the game state, putting pressure on your rival enough. So all you're doing is clogging your card pool until you get another thing. Like, in effect, it's like a pseudo discard 1 ability, but you had to clog your card pool to do it. Really, really don't like. It's like the latest, what was it? We had it in the past. It was in the Endeavor deck. I can't remember it. I didn't like it then. I don't like it now. Jaw Titan's Bite. 3/4, discard a card, get a Jaw Titan's Bite. So we are not increasing our hand size. There's not really another meaningful ability here. Deadlock Stun 2, everything else gets a damage. Those are fine. They're not like game-winning abilities, you know? And then you go find another Jaw Titan's Bite. And it's conditional whether even you have more Jaw Titan's Bite in your discard pile. And then you're just getting another kind of bad attack, and you're just clogging your card pool while doing it. Like in Porco, Jaw Titan's Bite makes sense. All of these cards have their time and place because Porco just wants to clog his card pool. But in the vast majority of decks that I see running Jaw Titan's Bite, I am not a fan. Okay, my attack got blocked. All right, well, Full Cowling Impact says, hey, when it's blocked, your rival destroys a foundation. Satchel Toss, now they commit 2 foundations. This is my chance. Now you get to clear it from your card pool. These are all little abilities that make us feel nice. But one, we're putting our rival in control on whether or not these abilities happen. And they just make us feel happy when our attack gets blocked. But we don't want our attacks to get blocked. Throws are like inherently feel good cards. All throws are. You see beginners and casuals playing throws at a much heavier rate than competitive players typically, because it feels good. It's like, hey, I got half damage in even if you block. If I just play all throws, I'll always be able to get damage in. Ouch, taking damage is painful. We don't like that. Time for Battle. Hey, we get to sacrifice 1, you commit 1. Titanic Combat, I get to build 1 now that I took damage. Smiling Titan. Hey, you have to attack my Smiling Titan instead of attacking me. But now I'm playing this 7 difficulty attack that's understated at a 6 high 6. And it takes me an extra turn to be able to use the ability. And then even when I do use the ability, who says the right answer wasn't just to attack the Smiling Titan and get free momentum for killing a backup anyway? Okay, that's category 1. A feels good card papers over feels bad elements of universes, right? We're taking these times in the game where normally we would feel terrible, and the feels good card makes us feel not so terrible. And humans value getting out of pain more than they do value something good happening. Okay, category 2 of a feels good card. A feels good card has abilities that work in your mind more often than they work during games. This one's a little bit different. This one's more of a deck building category, because the first category was, okay, these are helping elements of my actual gameplay, feel better. And now this is, well, when you're deck building, you're imagining all of the possibilities of these cards. And then when you actually sit down and play, it's not as good. Now, this category is not nearly as sinister as category 1, because typically after some play testing, these will be the cards that you cut because they're not consistent enough. So often in universes, when you sit down to play, you're battling against somebody and you both have a different game plan. And your goal is to overpower their game plan with your game plan. Best way to do that is to make your game plan as consistent and powerful as possible. Inconsistent cards need to be cut. Unless we have a way we're doing something with our character or our cards are synergizing in a way that turn these inconsistent cards into ultra consistent cards. But most of the time, these cards are too inconsistent. They're working in your mind, but they're not actually working in the game, and they need to get cut. And good play testing, you'll end up cutting these cards. So it's not as sinister as the category number 1. So what do I mean by this? Like, an ability is conditional or situational. An ability allows your rival to be in control. And maybe not your rival in control, but maybe fate is in control. Jesus take the wheel. Or maybe it's just detached from reality. In Discord, I see these cards referred to as like magical Christmas land cards. Or it just doesn't change anything. Sometimes there's abilities that they feel good to press the button, and absolutely nothing happens because of it. Okay, this comes from our unrealistic optimism, and there have been tons and tons of studies done on this. Oh, I meant to change the image. This was like a badly done AI image. Here, I meant to change it to something else. Oh, well, we'll have to deal with their deformed hands of these college graduates. Okay, but there's been lots of studies done on this, right? Like when people first get married, they ask them, hey, what are the odds you'll get divorced? And people are like, oh, 0%, less than 10%. What are the odds that you'll become an alcoholic compared to your peers when you're graduating college? Oh, yeah, I have a much lower chance of that. Or what are the odds that you'll get into a car crash? Or people tend to underestimate the odds of bad things and overestimate the odds of good things. And we bring this with us to universes. Again, it's normal. It's just our brains doing that to us. But we have to recognize that our brains are doing this. And so it can feel like, turning into the skid on a car whenever you hit the ice or something. Okay, let's take these one at a time. Conditional. Earthbreaker, if your rival has more foundations than you, draw a card. Levi's Retribution, if your rival has 10 or less health, his attack is 4 speed. Dangerous Combatant, if your rival has more foundations committed than ready, draw 1 card. The key word here is if. And Levi's Retribution has it 3 times. If. I hate that word. I want my card to play its ability 100% of the time. Earthbreaker is actually double feels good, because then the response after this attack deals damage, destroy 1 rival foundation. Well, that's putting your rival in control. We'll get to that in just a little bit. So 2 feels good abilities on Earthbreaker. The amount of times I see someone play an Earthbreaker and then they don't actually get the draw, and then I block it, and they don't even get to destroy. It's like, yeah, you wasted your time with that card. Putting your rival in control. Okay, think of Vile Seizing as like the poster child for this. Your rival makes a check against a 7. If they fail, draw 1 card, and this attack gets 2 damage. Well, your rival is always going to make the decision that is worse for you. If they're not going to block your Vile Seizing, they might as well just commit 2. And now it's effectively like they half blocked it because you get 2 less damage, and they stopped you from drawing a card. A lot of people very good players will be committing for that Vile Seizing effect. And if they choose not to commit, it's probably because it doesn't change the fact that they're just going to block the Vile Seizing and take 0 damage from it. So what did it matter that you got 2 damage? Strange Energies, they're just going to commit out for it when they need it. Kenny Ackerman, after you deal damage, your rival either loses 3 health or they discard a card. Well, they're always going to pick the one that you don't want them to pick. Also, any attack that says after this attack deals damage. Well, who's in control of that dealing damage? A lot of the time, your rival has some say in that. There's a dance that happens when you play Universes. Now, sometimes, maybe your rival has no cards in hand or they're completely committed out. But most of the time, your rival has some say in which attacks they block. And so abilities like Midst of Despair, after this attack deals damage, your next card try to play ignores progressive difficulty. Well, your rival gets to turn off that ability if they want to. Like Rapid Transformation, I actually really like, but I like it for the cycle lock, not for the response. Okay, or you're putting Fate in control, maybe even worse than your rival. Punisher's Beam, mill 3, add 1 ranged or weapon card milled this way to your momentum. A lot of times you play Punisher's Beam and you hit nothing. And then you also have a feels good enhance. If this attack deals damage, destroy 1 rival foundation. Well, you're putting your rival in control of that. Beast Titan's Call. We saw when I played Justin the other day for our Smiling Titan versus Reiner money match. He would have beat me in the last game, but he needed his Beast Titan's Call to mill a certain card that would become a backup that would then burn me for 2 health. But he missed it because it's inconsistent, because Fate was in control. Father Sin, after you play this mill 4, if you mill 2 attacks this way, draw 1 card. Well, sometimes you'll draw, sometimes you won't. When we see these cards, we always imagine them happening. Oh, Punisher's Beam. Yeah, this gives me momentum. Well, 67% of the time it does. Or Beast Titan's Call. Yeah, this builds me backups. Maybe. You can only hope. And then which one? Which one? Who knows? It's based on whatever you mill. Or these cards are Magical Christmas Land, just detached from reality entirely. I picked some recent ones for this. Aerial Kikosho. This one's not even out yet. It's coming out in the Street Fighter decks, but I already see so many people excited, thinking that this is like game breaking and game changing. Drive 1, add this card to your card pool. After he completely blocks attack resolves, try to play this attack from your card pool. gets -2 difficulty and +2 speed. So people are like, oh, it's like a reversal coming back into universes. I can play this attack on my opponent's turn. And now if I'm like playing this in Jamie or something, I can play it and then I can get an extra drink counter because now I can use my once per turn ability on my rival's turn too. Or when I'm playing it, my rival will block and then I'll use it. It's like a 4 difficulty 6i7, and it sounds so wonderful until you start playing the game, because I have played with Kikusho quite a bit already and I find myself cutting it. It's like the first attack cut so often because it ends up being, well, I have to completely block something. So I have to hold a secondary card that full blocks something and then play this. And then it has to be the right timing to where playing the attack after the block is the optimal choice and not holding back Kikusho to block something else in the future. And then if you draw into it and you only draw it, then you're not drawing other attacks that would be better as leadoffs. Even if your rival does block an attack, is it the right time for Kikusho? Like if you have a Tri-Gravity in hand, maybe you would much rather play Tri-Gravity in your sequencing, but now that they completely blocked, maybe they're never going to block again in that turn, and so it's now or never for Kikusho, and now you have 2 attacks that really want to be played going at war against each other in your sequencing. It sounds great when you're putting it in the deck, because it's always working in your mind. It's not working in practice. Ackermans team up. This gets +2 damage for each card clear from my card pool. Oh, if I'm playing like a Mikasa 1, this is going to get like +6 damage, and now it's like a 4 mid-9, and a 4 mid-9 is really good stats on a 4 diff. I love this. And then you put it into the deck, and then you realize that you're clearing 3 cards in a turn, maybe once per game, and then even then, did Ackermans matter? It's a terrible lead-off attack, Survey Corpse, like, after I block, I get to ready it. Okay, well, in your mind, you're always blocking 3 or 4 times. What about reality? I'm sorry, I've got my lawn. You might hear the lawn work going on outside right now. Okay, or it has an ability that just doesn't change anything, like Besiege. This attack can only be blocked by cards with a 3 block mod or greater. Well, if your rival has one in their hand anyway, then this literally changed nothing, other than you feeling good when you press the button. Lust for Battle. You don't get to pick when this goes off a lot of the times when you randomly mill it off your deck, so it's a little bit about fate and control. You do get to if you destroy it from your stage, but then even then, when you give your rival's next check -1, your rival is now in control of like when they're going to check. Perhaps they just never check again that turn and they didn't intend to anyway, and now your Lust for Battle did nothing. Perhaps they just waste it on their next block that they were planning to fail anyway, and then it means nothing for when they actually do block. Trying to Reach Aaron is do-nothing effects in 2 ways. It's pretty impressive. First form, look at the top card of your deck. How often is first form, look at the top card of your deck, going to change the first card you play? Most of the time, you're just going to play the first card you're going to play anyway. Even if you know you're going to check poorly on it. It's like, well, it just makes sense still. Enhance, commit, name a card type, reveal the top card of your deck. If the revealed card matches the name type, add it to your hand. So it's another way of like peeking the top and then sometimes drawing it, but a lot of times it's just doing nothing. It's changing nothing about the outcome of the game. And a 2 difficulty foundation that checks a 4 needs to be changing the outcome of games on a consistent basis. Don't get me wrong. Look, Besiege is good in a lot of decks. 3 difficulty, 3 mid, 4, that's just good stats right there. But a lot of times that blitz ability doesn't matter. And it doesn't change anything. They were going to block with the 3 block mod anyway. But it feels nice, and then people are like, oh, it's like pseudo 6 speed, All right, so there it was. A feels good card, has abilities that work in your mind more often than they work during games. So those were my 2 categories of feels good cards. And the examples that I've shown are far from all of them. Again, I could find hundreds of feels good cards and put them in here. I just wanted to put some higher played ones. But feels good cards are like garlic to me. I love garlic. Garlic is a solid spice. I'm happy that it exists on planet Earth. I love garlic bread. I could eat garlic bread or Texas toast just all day, every day, if it wasn't bad for my health to do so. But my wife puts garlic in everything, and garlic does not belong in scrambled eggs. I cannot eat my wife's scrambled eggs. My wife is a great cook, by the way, but I can't eat her scrambled eggs. And my son now likes garlic in his scrambled eggs too. So now I can't eat my son's scrambled eggs. Now if I want to make scrambled eggs, I got to make it myself. because I can't be having garlic dumped in there. And then they dump way too much garlic. My wife puts garlic on everything. And that's the same with feels good cards. Casuals play feels good cards in everything because they just feel nice doing it. You know, it gives them warm, cozy, happy feelings. And there's a time and a place for things like garlic bread, you know, like I'll play a City Rampage deck. Right now, I'm using some of these cards in my deck that I'd probably be playing for Louisville. I won't tell you which ones, but I'm playing a couple of the ones that I showed today. But they're actually really good for the situation that I'm playing them in. And so don't treat this as saying like you should never, ever, ever play these cards. But a red flag should go up in your mind when you see a feels good card matching one of these two categories. You should just ask yourself, is this really good in my deck? Or am I just instinctively playing this? And you need to have that be a deliberate thought process because your brain, emotionally left to itself, is going to gravitate towards the feels good cards. And I might make another video after this one where I talk about reals good that are feels bad cards. You know, feels bad cards that are actually really good and win you games. That could be its whole own video, or I could go through examples of like cards that I consider real good and never ever feels good. But this is going to basically be it for me. I'll show you these three cards that I showed you at the beginning again. Nice Try, World's Weakest Hunter, Keiko Zaid. I won't tell you why there feels good, but armed with the knowledge of this video, I think you can figure it out on your own. And I hope that this video has been beneficial and helps you out in your deck building and playing and getting ready for Louisville in just a couple weeks, because I will be there. I'm ready to win the entire event or just hang out with friends and have a good time. Both are good too because it feels good. You know, feels good to be at the event surrounded by friends. So if you haven't done so already, leave this video a like, comment, you know, subscribe, hit the bell button, all those things the other famous YouTubers ask you to do and then you ignore, but they continue asking it anyway, and it takes up time in the video and then you just want to skip past it. That's why I'm throwing this at the end, but it really does help. It helps the algorithm. For as long as Universes is here, I am going to be here talking about it. All right, I'll see you next time.